Welcome to your 12 sign horoscopes for Mars in the sign of Gemini, coming up on June 29th through August 12th. I already have the first video I did on Mars in Gemini, which you want to check out. In this podcast, the previous episode, I did that video on this transit, and it is the reading which gives you the information about what it is really about. So you have a baseline understanding of what I'm really talking about here. So you can understand the qualities of this transit in order to understand this video, which is the readings for all 12 signs. The readings for all 12 zodiac signs. With all that you are doing, and all of those particular readings, and these readings are for your sun, moon, and rising sign. So if you don't know your moon and rising sign, you can go to astro.com, figure that out, put in your birth information, put in your name, your date, your time, and your place, etc., and then calculate that so you can find your moon and rising sign, because I think we all should know our sun sign. But our rising sign is based more so on the time of our birth. That's really what it can come down to, is the time of our birth really being very, very huge for us in the kind of way like that. So knowing your rising sign, you can listen for all three or just two, really, your rising sign, your sun sign. So I'm going to delve in. If you are triple Sagittarius, for instance, you would only listen to that one reading, or you can listen to all the signs. If you're just genuinely curious about what I have to say, I always encourage that. So, delving in to Aries, let's just start out right at the beginning. So I'm going to take my time through this. I'm not going to rush this. I'm doing 2 episodes in one day because I just felt just raring to go and raring to share this information with you. So I just couldn't wait until tomorrow. And so I'm going to do this today and give myself exactly what I want and allow myself to play and have fun and enjoy this and do all that stuff. So, okay, so delving into Aries first of all. What I want to discuss with Aries is one of the things that I haven't discussed with Aries previously is that they can suffer from loneliness. They can suffer from being the loner, the lone wolf, because they are independent, they are pioneering, they go their own way. They go on their own path. They're pioneers. They do their own thing. They follow their own soul calling, and it's very, very lonely. However, this is very South Node Aries, North Node Libra conversation. We are all worthy of connection. We are all worthy of relationship. And so, Aries, you don't have to be so lonely. Because Aries can get itself into just running on the race and running alone and going on life at a very, very alone place. And that can be very, very lonely at times. You don't have to go at this life alone, Aries. It's just, listen to yourself, Aries. Deep down, I think that your soul needs tenderness and love and relationship and connection, which is very, very healthy. Very, very healthy indeed. So I would say, make space in your heart for relationship, enough to where you can talk to people in your world. You can get to know them. You can get to chat. You can get to converse. And through that conversation, through that intellectual sharing of words and phrases and connection and ideas back and forth and agreements and new learning of information, new teaching of information between you and the other, you can then engage with the world much more collaboratively, much more openly, much more positively, because it's on a more social, intellectual scale. You are really, really being open to speak, to communicate, to do all of these kind of things. And it's really, really being asked of you now to be open to new information, open to new communication, open to new conversations and interactions and stir-ups and all those kind of things which you're very, very doubtful of. That, oh, I'm not worthy of this. And I'm meant to go along my own path, and you know, you better keep up with me. They're like, oh my gosh, this makes me so sad. This makes me so sad, Aries. Because you are human. And I think that Aries can get itself into this masculine quality of being so consumed with this masculine, I've got to do it, and I've got to be the one doing it, and I want to be in control, and I want to fight, and I want to do this. Oh, what about the tender, more loving, more deeper emotional side? And this is Mars and Gemini, so it's not necessarily emotional, but it could be. Point being, connection. Connection is the point that I'm trying to express here. And you can learn to intellectually engage with people in your life. And so that's the first thing that I just wanted to chat with you about. The next thing is not having this attitude that it's got to be my way or the highway. You know, it's got to be, you know, I've got to be fixed in my ego. I've got to be really, really just determined and just, you know, I've got to do this. And, you know, this has got to be this way. And this has got to be, the road has to go in this way. And this person has to be here at this time. And I've got to approach this goal in this way, and this, you know, I've got to get this, and I've got to get that, and all these kind of things that just surrender that egoic need to have everything go your way, because you're not large and in charge. The universe, the divine, is large and in charge. And it is really, really about being open. Being open to what the universe has to give you, to what spirit has to really give you. So this really, really comes down really, really strongly for Aries, because they can get very, very in their egos about, I want this, and I want this to be a certain way, you know, and all of this. And so they can be fixated on what they want. And, you know, my way or the highway, and it's got to be my way. Can you be open to what the universe has to provide? Can you be open to change? Can you be open to new discoveries and new opportunities and new things coming into your life which could make for a much better life? Which could make for a much more open, expansive, and fun life, more interesting life. And it's about cultivating a curious mind. It's about being curious to whatever the universe has to give. Like, I wonder about this, I'm open to this, I'm questioning this, I'm doing all this stuff where I am open-minded and curious to what the universe has to give me in that way, and not surrendering the ego and dropping into your soul that knows it's all going to be fine in the end. And then surrendering what you want. Surrendering what you want with your fiery energy. With your fiery, gotta get up and go, it's gotta be this way. And trust in the divine. Trust in spirit. Trust in the universe that it's gonna work out. It's gonna be all fine. And you're gonna get to the promised land. You're gonna get to your higher place. You're gonna get to that stotum and modem sometime or another. And you know, you're going to reach something which is going to be for your highest good more than you ever thought that it would be. So can you surrender that need to have everything your way and just trust in spirit? Now moving on to Taurus. How have you kept things a little bit stuck? How have things been stuck for you, Taurus? How have things been just stagnant? And just like, you know what? This has kind of been a routine thing that I've been doing over and over and over again, and look at how you emotionally feel. Have you suppressed your soul's need for change, for variety, for stimulation, for excitement, for freedom? Have you suppressed these needs? Have you suppressed these desires, Taurus? Have you done that? Which is what I want to ask you. Where do you need to add variety? Where do you need to open up your options a little bit more? Adding new things into it. Adding new things into, what you're doing, really. So, how can you, how can you add variety to your life? Where can you add that variety? Where can you add that change, that spontaneity, that newness? Where can you just include that in your life? That's really what I want to ask you here. Really, really strongly with this energy is bringing in more freedom and fun into your life with variety. And then how can you teach the world how to stick to something? As much as you need variety and change at this time, and I think that that's the level where you're really, really craving change and stimulation and excitement, to get things out of the stuck patterns. Like if you're noticing a pattern is really like, this is keeping me small and I need to expand and grow, that's where the growth needs to happen. And how can you teach the world how to stick to something? Because you are so good at sticking to things. You are so good at committing and going full in, full on with a project, with a goal, with the ambition, with the commitment that you have. You are stick to it and you see it through. And this is a really, really, a beautiful quality that you can possess. And I think that we all need this energy, especially the more flaky, people out there, or maybe the ones who have a lot of Gemini or mutable energy in their chart. They just struggle. The people who struggle to commit to things, to focus on things. I think that you can really, really help them out, Taurus, with being able to teach them it's important to stick with what you need to do. Stick with something, focus on it, devote your time and energy into that thing. This includes books, this includes a project, this includes a YouTube video, watching a YouTube video to completion. Now, this isn't to say watching something that you know in your heart of hearts is not worth your time and energy to watch. Okay, discernment is very, very important. I'm going to talk to other signs about that. But, determining what doesn't feel like your time, what is, so, okay, this is what I've learned to determine what is and isn't worth my time and energy to watch. But if I am interested in it, then I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to commit to it, and I'm going to see it full through. That's my sort of philosophy nowadays with watching videos and doing all that. So can you stick to something? Can you teach others to commit? The final thing is, don't hold in and repress feelings. This is really, really huge because Taurus can repress the emotions out of this desire to help, be productive, fix the issue. Well, that can be Virgo, but that can also be Taurus, but with being very, very, efficient and being very productive and working. Okay, this is kind of a thing where you're like, I cannot hold in these feelings any longer. I cannot keep this a secret any longer. We're just building up the relationship and providing to the other person. Like you can be a provider, making the money and paying the thing and doing the thing and making the meals and providing for everybody's material needs. But can you learn about vulnerability? Understand the importance of vulnerability, being open about feelings, being open about expressing your emotional truth, being open about what it is that you truly feel, what it is that truly resonates for you in that kind of way. So that's what I want to talk to you about, is vulnerability. Vulnerability is a strength. And it is something which we need to understand about leaning into, to be honest about our feelings, to be honest and transparent about what we're really going through emotionally. And being open about our feelings, being open about our thoughts, having those connections where you're communicating and connecting with the person intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, and instead of just providing and doing things for the person, you actually connect and have conversations and relationships with them. Now, Gemini, this is about stimulating your mind, activating your mind, stimulating it, because Gemini is a stimulator. It's the stimulator, and it's stimulated. So stimulating your mind very, very strongly, and activating your mind, really, opening up your mind to learn new things. Gemini is about learning. Gemini is about curiosity. Gemini is about understanding new levels of the world, kind of thing. So what do you truly want to do at this time? What do you want to do? And how can you stimulate yourself to get motivated? Because the phrase for Mars in Gemini is, if I'm not stimulated, I'm not motivated. That's the key phrase that you need to remember about Mars in Gemini, and I certainly resonate with that phrase. So I came up with it, and that's my title. So, yeah. So, how can you stimulate your mind? How can you activate it? How can you, what information, what books, what knowledge, what videos you can watch, what people you can meet, what situation you can get yourself into. That way you can stimulate your mind in order to take on new information, in order to actually do what you feel is true for you to do. Use discernment. Using discernment is very, very important, because Gemini can be very, very undiscerning. It becomes scattered. It can go in all directions at once. It can scatter itself out. It can, go in this direction, go in that direction. And it's open to anything. It's open to any possibility, any possible avenue, any possible book or video or article. Whatever, the whole 9 yards. So can you honestly use discernment as your key at this time? Can you be discerning about the direction that you're going in and the information that you are taking in at this time, to make sure that it's not confining you or keeping you from expanding and growing in a way that's your soul, that's, half good information and the really, really good information. So discerning what is half good and really, really good, because you view all information as good, but it's about discerning, and I know you don't like this, because it's about, I don't want to be picky, I don't want to be, particular or whatever, but this is about really, really determining what pieces of information are right for you, what videos are right for you, what people are right for you, what, all these things. Determining this is really, really important. And going in the directions that are true for you, going in those directions which are, which ring true for you in all those kind of ways, and not just scattering yourself, going in all these directions. That's really, really important. And the final thing is, you can't go in every single direction in your life. With all the directions that you want to go in and all the things that you want to do, you can't go in every single direction, manifest every single idea that you have in your life. And ask you, what ideas are most valuable to you? What ideas that you want to act and implement are the most valuable, are the most important, that you care about the most? These ideas are like, yes, I want to act on this the most. I want to research. I want to read the books on this. I want to talk to the right people on this. I want to actually not just say people say, oh, you know so much about such and such, but what are you going to do with it? Like Gemini at worst can sort of have all this information, but then not do anything with it, then not act on it. So what do you want to do with the information that you know, the information that you understand, and what ideas that you take on? You're like, I really agree with this. I really see the value of this. What are you going to do with the information that you already know is what I want to ask you genuinely at this time. So then moving on to Cancer. How can you connect with others on an emotional level? Like, this is Cancer's speciality, is connecting with others in this way, rather than intellectually, just merely intellectually. This is really, really huge. So connecting with others on an emotional level, on emotional current, instead of just by the intellect, by the mind, by the understanding of information, and that kind of a way. So, connecting with others on this level, connecting with others both, you can connect both intellectually and emotionally. We can connect in both kind of ways. So, can you connect in intellectual ways? Can you have conversations, open your mind, do all this? And then, how have you been holding in your emotional truths? How have you been holding in these truths really, really strongly? With what you're doing, with what you're experiencing, what you're taking on. How have you been keeping these truths under lock and key? Have you not been open and transparent about these truths, about these true feelings that you have about these people, about these emotions, about these whatever? And what you really want to say is what you need to say. Is what needs to be said, is your emotional truth, your true feelings about like this relationship or this situation or this family member or whatever, instead of just keeping the peace. Instead of just keeping the peace and just not talking about feelings, not talking about your emotions, in order just to keep the peace. And so just keeping the peace is not the right way to go. It's not. It's not. So how can you, be very, very open-minded, be very, very open to communicating, open about your feelings, not just holding things in just to keep the peace and just to keep everything, locked in, sucked in inside yourself, but to let it out openly, willingly, because you will feel more safe and secure and at home within yourself if you're open and willing to speak the hard truths that you're afraid to speak. Cancer is a sign that feels very, very deeply, and they don't always like the fact that they feel so much. It's like sometimes they'd rather just not feel. They wish that they were devoid of emotions or didn't feel as much of these feelings. So this goes on in the the maker shiftings of all these kind of things like that. So so that's very, very important. And then how can you not be in the seriousness of emotional mess? And how can you not be so serious, in the mess of, in the mess of the emotions, and the, all these emotions, all these feelings, being very, very, all sort of all over the place with your emotions and not just openly, speaking about them. and not having a sort of a quick-witted quality to your life. So can you open up to life in that way where you're quick-witted? Where you're using your humor, you're using your intellect, and get out of the emotions. Like you can be stuck in the emotions, sucked into the emotions so much. But you don't have to be stuck in the emotions. You can feel them and you can understand them in that way. But you can then rise above that and talk, think, engage with the world in that way. So then, Leo, can you open up your mind to engage with others? Communicating, having the reciprocation of relationships, having the back and forth between what I'm saying and what you're saying. Both and. You're not superior to others. You're not better than others. Can you allow space for both of you to be balanced? Both what you bring to the table and both what the other person brings to the table. Because that is very, very important to have the balance of that. So you can open up your mind to engage with others in a way where we're not just having an attitude that, oh, it's all about me and it's all about my creative ideas and my creative spark and my heart and my love of things and and my beauty and my this and my that. And it's really about not having this attitude that it's all about me, but really sharing, having connections, understanding the other person, understanding where they're coming from, being open to their perspective, and balancing. Like the upside of Libra, 2 signs after you, is the balance between what you bring and what the other brings. That's balance. That's balance. And Aries can bring that into balance. Like you need both the yin and the yang. You both need Aries and Libra. So can you bring them into a space into which you hold these emotions, these people, when they can be, so what I mean by this is there may be people in your life who may be withholding of certain truths, maybe withholding of what they want to say, what they truly believe, what's truly on their hearts and minds. And can you allow the space for them to truly open up and be open and forthcoming with what they want to feel? And for them not to be afraid to speak to what they want to feel. This is very, 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 very important. So, can you, can you allow them to feel what they need to feel and allow them to speak, like give them the space to speak to, what they need to feel on an emotional level? Can you allow them the space to really, really lean into those emotions and not spending too much time with the glitz and the glam, Leo, not spending too much time with social media posting to always express yourself and always let all your stuff go and express yourself so proudly and prominently on social media, but to engage with the real world, physical people, real connections and all that, as opposed to the digital world. That's what I spoke about on that previous video. So can you just not only express yourself on social media authentically and creatively, but can you also do the same in the physical 3D reality? So then Virgo, moving on to Virgo now. So this is about discernment, Virgo. So can you be discerning about what information that you're taking in, making sure that you're taking in the right information? the logical information, and use your logical mind to determine what's true and what's not, because Virgo at best can be really, really discerning, disseminating between one piece of information and another, putting them two together and determining which is true, what is true, and what is not. Can you determine this? Can you really, really look at this and see this really, really clearly? And pick out the pieces of information that are true, that are realistic, that are, this and that for you. So can you be open to this information, but also to, know what's right for you and what isn't. And then Virgo can be the, the maid, Miller cup for taking care of herself sick in the wintertime. I'm just an old Virgo. Well, she was a Capricorn, really, but the actress was a Cancer, so. But anyway, you can be the maid. Virgo can be the maid, the humble servant, the shop would carry water, the looks a woman in the cottage, and, cleaning house and this and that. Orderly, keeping things very, very useful and all that. Animated images in the Seasons of the Witch decks, for example. But can you open up? I think that the fairy tale element of that is very, very beloved, and which is sort of seeing where I'm coming from. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But can you open up? Can you, open up to what you want to learn and understand, what you want to do, you want to take on, interact with others, interacting with people, really, really, seeking help. Like, you can ask for help, and also getting together with others and meeting others and, having those kind of interactions there. And so how, can you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it all alone. And then you may be a little bit too flexible, because Virgo is a sign that just, disperses its energy and sort of is very, very high strung, very, very high strung nervous system. So high strung nervous system, with being able to be very, very tuned into the little details of what is going wrong, of what is really going wrong. And it can notice when something's out of place, when something's out of order. And when it notices that, it's very, very hyper tuned in. It's always looking for things. It wants the table to be straight. It wants everything in its neat place. It can suffer from being sort of OCD at one of the lowest manifestations of Virgo energy is OCD. So I know, because I've suffered from it. So, can you focus your energy on something instead? Can you say, okay, I'm putting a boundary up to all these details that I'm noticing in my physical environment, and I'm choosing to focus my energy on this detail of my life. This detail. This focus. Not dispersing my energy out, not taking care of every little thing, but focusing on what I want to nurture. Instead of fixing all the details, what do you want in your life? What do you want to do in your life? What do you want to grow in your life? What do you want to manifest in your life? What do you want to actually take on in your life? And, how can you make manifest of this and see it through, really? So that's what I honestly want to say with that. Now, moving on to Libra now. This is about transcending superficiality, transcending, because Libra can get very, very superficial, because Libra comes before Scorpio, and so Libra can get caught in the beauty of it, and the art of it, and the strength of it, and then this and that. So how can you transcend the superficiality in communication and use the high road for Gemini to actually take the deep dive and focus your mental and intellectual energy into something and focus in on it and really commit to it fully. And going deep with it, really taking the deep dive into this piece of information, and being very superficial is not going to cut it at this time. With being able to go deep, with being able to study, being able to learn it really effectively, really strong. And then what people or relationships really stimulate you? What people or relationships really stimulate you to move effortlessly through life? And people that really stimulate you, people who really stimulate you with new ideas, makes for something that you want to do, want to act upon in your life. So that's also something worth considering, is the people and the relationships that do that stimulation. And then you can't take on all relationships, because Libra, not all relationships are for you. It is about understanding the relationships that are right for you, true for you, that are best use of your energy, best use of your time and focus and attention, really honing in on that. And where you can not take on all relationships, not taking on all these relationships, discerning which relationships are for you and which are not for you is very important, to be able to choose the right relationships that are for you. Like, I feel so passionately about that choosing relationships and connecting with people that are aligned with your true values, your inner values. Choosing the right relationships for you based off of who the person really is, who they show themselves to be, who they display themselves to be, who you know them to be in real life. I have a Libra moon, and I know somebody who, I don't like their social media presence, but their real life presence is absolutely 100% aligned with my values of what I like to see in a person. The online presence couldn't be further from the truth of that. But this relationship is as aligned as it can be. I think in all the relationships out there, it's pretty aligned. And that's just for me. You may not be in those relationships. And what relationship patterns are based on old structures, old foundations, old paradigms, old energies of certain conditions. You have to be this way to the person. You have to act in these ways. You have to show this. You have to perform. You have to do all this instead of just being authentic to who you are with this person. Who do you feel like you can really be authentic around? Who truly gets you? You're not alone, Libra. Who truly gets you? I talked to Aries, your opposite sign, about loneliness. Who truly understands you, and be in those right relationships that are for you, and discard of the relationships that just in your heart are not for you. Then moving on to Scorpio. Can you be vulnerable, Scorpio? This is about being vulnerable about what you know towards others, being vulnerable about what you feel without withholding that vulnerability, without suppressing that vulnerability, without holding in that true feeling of vulnerability and openness, and really allowing yourself to feel your emotions, allowing yourself to feel your feelings, and just allowing yourself to be in that energy and speak to it. Like, do you feel safe to be vulnerable, to be open emotionally, to share everything that you want to share? Or do you feel like if you do, others will reject you, others will hold you back, others will dislike you, others will judge you for it? And this is not really the best relationship dynamics for you if you do feel this way. And there's certain things that need to be addressed and talked about in your life if you do resonate with this, to be able to be vulnerable at this time without withholding the vulnerability. And you're thinking to yourself, what does that have to do with Mars and Gemini? Well, I'm anything goes in this podcast. So this is a lesson for Scorpio in general about the ability to just tune in and be vulnerable and be heartfelt and be, open and sharing of these things, forthcoming about these things. So what have you been holding in and keeping a secret, Scorpio? What have you been repressing and suppressing and holding with yourself? What secrets have you been keeping from others? What truths have you been holding in from the people in your life, the people in your relationships, and how can you let it go? Now you understand that healthy relationships don't operate on superficial harmony and secret keeping. Relationships don't operate on just sucking it in to keep the peace. Relationships operate on being honest and transparent about what's really going on, about what you're really feeling, about what you're really going through, and being willing to speak to that and being willing to have those conversations. And the final thing here is to go deep. Go deep and uncover the dirt. I want to encourage you to uncover the dirt. Dig up those secrets. Dig up all those secrets and things underneath the surface that you're afraid to look at, to determine what's true and what's not. And you're very, very good at investigating and digging deep. So can you dig deep into what's really, really going on and find the truth and determine what, find the truth, find the diamond in the rough, find the, find the, what, that you understand very, very deeply at a soul level that all that glitters is not gold. So can you not just take what it is at face value, but to really, really go deep and go below the surface to find those true answers going on there. So, Sagittarius. This is about going out and seeking adventures in the real world, seeking adventures in the real world, in your life, with those in your life, with those whom you interact with, to have adventures with them, to travel, not just physically, but also metaphorically, mentally, spiritually, traveling inside yourself, traveling through reading, traveling through learning, traveling through all these kind of things like this in your life. So can you go out and seek adventures and seek newness and novelty and spontaneity in the real world, and really, really go in that direction, really. So can you, explore and have those adventures, and then can you make meaningful connections on your travels? Like Sagittarius is not about going it alone and just traveling to this place and just, I traveled here and I'm moving on to this place. I traveled there and I'm moving on to this place. No, you're meant to settle down and slow down and form connections as you travel, form connections as you go through your travels and your experiences. Go through those connections. Make those meaningful connections, with you, throughout your life. Can you interact with those in your corner? Can you interact with those people that really get you, that really understand you, that really, understand what it's like to be you? And can you form meaningful connections? This is about forming meaningful connections. So what you want to, relationship you want to form to a relationship that you want to bond with really is really, really critical for this. With being able to connect intellectually, share ideas, being open, that understand that everyone has a story, be open to their perspectives, be open to their own beliefs, not being so stuck and rigid in your beliefs, but also being open to their beliefs and what they truly believe and what they truly know intellectually. And then maybe the direction that you're going in is so incredibly fixed, where you set your sights in a certain direction, you're going on that certain path, and you're not giving up, and you're not, deterring from that path. You're not detaining, you're sort of detaining yourself to that path. If that's the right word to use. So maybe the direction that you're going in is so incredibly fixed. Like you have a direction, you have a goal, and you're going in this direction. You're going on this path. And it's time now to change it up. Go in new directions, that variety. Maybe explore new directions that you're unfamiliar with and be willing to go in and on those paths. To not just go in this one direction, but maybe the detours are important, and maybe switching it up a little bit and adding that variety with being able to take all these pieces of information and then add this into your path, into where you're going, that can really, really be supportive for you. Now, Capricorn can be really, really guarded, super guarded emotionally. It can be really, really repressed. It can hold in its feelings. It can keep them under lock and key because of this need to be productive, this need to be efficient, this need to climb up the mountain, this need to work so hard, this need to be professional, this need to be have your stuff together, and so there's this need to be guarded in this, sense. And so, can you allow yourself to feel? Can you allow yourself to feel these feelings? That's one of the Capricorn shadows, and I want to talk about this for a moment because I was listening to my Cancer North Node Capricorn South Node video the other day, podcast that I filmed back on April 9th, and I think that I said some things that were very, very, important and significant in regards to how profound the Capricorn South Node, North Node, and Cancer did, and I think that I really, really hit the nail on the head with this placement. And so, can you be, with the quality of being so restricted, emotionally, being so holding in your emotions with not having them, but not being afraid to feel them and lean into them, instead just cutting them off in the purpose of just work and productivity. And so that's one of the shadows of this sign. So can you allow yourself to feel and share with others and be open to others, share what you're feeling with others? And then can you get things off the ground and go after things in a way where you are engaging with others at the same time? Can you do things like this where you're exploring and you're starting things and you're making things happen and you're going after your goals and you're being very, very efficient and climbing up that mountain and putting one foot in front of the other and being very, very driven and together, but you are engaging with others at the same time as this. You are connecting, forming relationships, collaborating, getting together with others, and really, really bonding in all these kind of different kind of ways. Where you are connecting emotionally, intellectually, where you are engaging intellectually with others in your life. And so every ambition and goal that you have is not so. Not so. Think about that. Where you can't go after every ambition and goal that you have. Do what is sustainable, do what is realistic, do what is pragmatic, do what is truly right for you on a soul and intuition level. And be discerning about which goals that you do. Like, Capricorn can sort of throw itself into something, but in a mindful and cautious way. But you know that you are not willing to do something if it's not worth it. you're not willing to do something if you're not going to reap the rewards and get the results. And you want to look at the top of that mountain and you want to feel so good and so accomplished. By the time you get to the top of it, you want to be accomplished, feel accomplished. And so, can you climb the mountains that really, really bring you that accomplishment, that sense of, I feel good, I feel accomplished, I feel achieved in this. This has been worth the climb. This has been worth the effort to achieve this goal. Now, Aquarius, here you are being asked with this transit of Mars and Gemini to make changes and now about where you want to go in your life. Maybe the path that you were going down, maybe this is the one that calls to you now. Maybe you were going on a certain path, in a certain direction, in a certain way, and now you're like, I want to do something different. I want to try something new. I want to explore something that I never explored before. Can you look at things from a big picture, detached perspective? Because one of the gifts of Aquarius is it can have its its magnifying glass. It can just focus in like a scientist on the little details of life and focus in on these tiny, details from a very, very objective place. It can be just the observer, the scientist, see things rationally, logically. It can be hyper-rational at worst. But can you look at things from a detached perspective? And you are so good at this, so use this to your advantage, because Gemini is a fellow air sign. The Mars and Gemini will be trining your energy. At some point, the degree of your sun, moon, or rising sign will receive a trine from Mars in Gemini. So this invites you to see things from a much bigger perspective, much larger, much more detached viewpoint. And, can you, trust your intuition also? Trusting your intuition, not just using your head to do things, to accomplish things, to, do all these kind of things like that. To trust your intuition, do what's really, right for you, what feels right for you, what you know in your heart and soul is right for you. And not just, listen to your head and follow your head and follow your rational, logical mind, but can you also focus on your intuition, on your soul, on your, on your inner part of yourself, in that kind of, intuitive part, on that inner knowing part. So, be invited to focus on the intellect and balancing out the intuition also. So, Pisces, knowing and trusting the universe at this time comes very, very much in handy with your energy. Knowing and trusting the universe with divine timing, knowing that the right thing at the right time is the right thing, and the right thing at the wrong time is the wrong thing. That's the truth of life. So can you trust the universe? Knowing and remembering that not everything is right for you. Not every dream, not every vision, not every goal, not every ambition, not everything that you want to put out into the world and go after is right for you. And you have an inherent trust in spirit, in the universe, to know what is right, what feels right, what is for your highest good, what just having a moment here. Trusting that the universe is wise and loving, and it will never, what is never yours was you never meant to have it. So the universe will not take away what you were meant to have. That's the truth of life. So having those things not holding on so preciously because you're afraid to lose them, but just trusting that the universe will deliver you the right things at the right time, at the right place, the right situation that are truly right for you, because the universe cares and loves you very, very deeply. And so, you have dreams and visions. And can you share and articulate those ideas? Can you put words to those ideas? Can you be open with others about those ideas? Can you communicate, like, I have a dream for this, I have a dream for that, I have a vision for this, I have a vision for that, with whatever, what do you dream? What are your dreams? What do you dream up? What do you fantasize for your life? What vision that you have for your life? Now is the time to open up and connect with others and intellectually say these things. And you'll be surprised how far you can go with all this. You'll be surprised how far you would really, really traverse in life with being open about these things, being transparent about these things, with speaking about these things, speaking about these truths, about these ideas and dreams. Finally, what are you driven towards that you will pick up the energy and really, really devote all that you have into that thing? Because Pisces is a dreamy energy. Pisces can be in the reflection, in the dream space, in the dream world, in the soft world away from reality. It can be very, very difficult to pick up the energy and be productive and be practical and get stuff done and show efficiency in the 3D world. But this world is a world that operates on some of these things, but it doesn't have to be just all ego stuff. It can be soul, with using your ego as an assistant to your soul. The ego is meant to serve, the soul. And so, not the other way around. So, can you, pick up the energy and devote your life force energy into what you want to manifest, into that grand vision, into that grand idea, into that grand plan that you have, that you are so passionate about this, that you are not willing to sit on this, that you're willing to implement and act on in your life. So I invite you to take action during this time and make it happen with the variety, with the spontaneity, with the adaptability, with the curiosity, and with the open-mindedness toward communicating your way through it and making it happen. So that is really your 12 sign horoscopes. This has been one of the shortest episodes on the 12 sign horoscopes that I've ever done in such a while. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast. I was really, really feeling ready and raring to do another video today, so I did that. I gave myself exactly what I wanted, and so I did that. If I feel like one day, I just don't want to do it, then I'm not going to do it. But if I feel like I want to, then I will. So I hope that you got something out of your reading. I hope that you benefited from your reading. Found something valuable out of it. And if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. You can hype this video if you can, so that it can just get more views out there if you so wish. And subscribe so that you do not miss out on my future content. And if this message finds you at the right time, I would encourage you to subscribe and become part of the community that we are building together as we build this soul-centered, like-minded, authentic, loving community on YouTube, on my channel, which I want to build that community on my channel. So please subscribe. It really, really helps out a lot. And thank you for tuning in. I will see you on tomorrow's episode, which will be talking about Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Oh yes, I'll be discussing that very, very in depth. I'll be discussing the transit, the collective look at Mercury retrograde, what it means astrologically, and delving into all the themes of that transit. Until next time, bye for now. Take good care.